connecting you to the makers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM Radio Main News. The headlines. President Hichilema says he does not believe in street fights. Zambia records major gains in HIV fight, launches new long-acting prevention drug. And pastor a new bride abducted in latest Nigeria attacks. This bulletin is live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia, and live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, my name is Lance Sannie. The Technical Committee on Constitutional Amendments has officially handed over its draft report containing more than 11,800 submissions from citizens across the country. Receiving the document today, President Hakainde Hichilema praised the committee for what he described as a thorough and inclusive process. He also commended the many stakeholders ranging from civil society groups to ordinary citizens who took part in the nationwide consultations. President Hichilema said the large volume of submissions reflects the public's strong interest in shaping the nation's constitutional future. The head of state further encouraged continued engagement as government reviews the recommendations in the draft. President Hichilema added that the government will that due process is followed thereafter. Constitutional reform process, with the next steps expected on refining the proposal before they are presented for broader national consideration.
I'm sure you are aware that we've been engaged in some dialogue with various stakeholders, some who are not agreed to the process. We met them here. I think it's our obligation to meet citizens, to hear citizens at any and all stages of this critical process. Today, we had another team. And that team, or the meetings we're having, have nothing to do with altering the work you have done.
President Hakainde Hichilema says he does not believe in political confrontations or what he called street fights, insisting that dialogue remains the best way to address national issues. Speaking at State House during a courtesy call on consultations for the ongoing constitutional review process, President Hichilema said that even when he served in the opposition, he avoided leading the UPND into street protests despite having many opportunities to do so. He emphasized that constructive engagement is the only sustainable approach to resolving governance concerns and strengthening the country's democratic values. The president further noted that the UPND is not the first administration to undertake constitutional amendments ahead of a general election, pointing to the 2016 reforms which were enacted the same year Zambia went to the polls.
As members of one community, the Zambian community, doing different things, yes, but truly as members of one integral community. And when we're challenged over anything in society, we come to the dialogue table. We don't prepare for conflict. We pray for peace. We pray for understanding. We pray for wisdom. That when we engage in a meaningful dialogue, it will take us one more step closer to some convergence of some kind.
Meanwhile, the Oasis Forum has withdrawn from the ongoing dialogue on the constitutional amendment process, saying government is insisting on proceeding with what it calls an illegality. In a statement, Forum Chairperson Beauty Katebe said the decision follows a sit-in held on 29th November, after which the Forum wrote to the President to communicate its position. The letter was delivered to the government's smaller negotiating team on 30th November. Ms. Katebe said genuine dialogue can only take place when key concerns are acknowledged, warning that linking the reforms process to the 2026 general elections undermines inclusivity and national consensus. She argued that the urgency being attached to the amendments is diverting attention from national challenges, including the high cost of living, water shortages, and unemployment. Ms. Katebe added that there is no justification for rushing changes to the country's supreme law in less than 30 days, noting that despite the forum raising critical concerns, the process has so far produced no meaningful results.
Forum regrets to inform the public that it decided to pull out of the dialogue on the constitution amendment process when it became clear that the government was adamant on its position to continue with an illegality. It is for this reason that on the 29th November 2025, following its sitting, the Oasis Forum wrote to the Republican president on its principled stance on the matter, which later was delivered to the smaller team representing government on the 30th of November 2025. I do not believe that dialogue is tenable when the underlying concerns remain unaddressed. Our concerns were
Earlier, the government announced the suspension of its dialogue with the Oasis Forum, citing the forum's alleged unwillingness to engage constructively in discussions surrounding proposed constitutional amendments. Chief Government spokesperson Cornelius Muetwa said the decision was made after it became apparent that the Oasis Forum was not prepared to participate meaningfully in the consultation process. Mr. Muetwa disclosed that instead of advancing the dialogue, the forum submitted a letter dated Saturday, 29th November 2025, stating its unwillingness to proceed with the talks. The ruling United Party for National Development (UPND) has formally endorsed Constitutional Amendment Bill Number 7, insisting that the proposed changes are necessary to avert a future constitutional crisis and strengthen governance systems in the country. Speaking during a press briefing at the party secretariat in Lusaka, UPND Media Director Maximu said those opposing the bill had lost the debate because their arguments lacked merit and substance. Mr. Simue accused some civil society organizations, CSOs, of attempting to blackmail government despite being accorded space to engage constructively. He explained that CSOs had initially requested President Hakainde Hichilema to defer the bill to allow for more consultation. Mr. Simue said the president listened, government responded by deferring the bill, and in addition, the Law Association of Zambia LAS submitted 6 names to be part of the technical committee. He urged the public should pay attention to the progressive clauses in Bill Number 7 rather than political interpretations being pushed by critics. Mr. Simue stressed that the bill is being misrepresented by those equating it to the much criticized Constitution Amendment Bill Number 10 of 2019, which the UPND opposed while in opposition.
With which citizens are discussing the constitution making process. Those that may not mean well, making Bill 7 look like Bill 10. And they will actually tell you that this is Bill 10 in another form. We felt duty bound that we do a comparative analysis of the two. Thereafter, in those Bill 7 content. And what is even more concerning is the fact that people are dismissing the bill, they are not discussing the content. The whole essence of taking a bill to the people is to allow people to unpack, to open it and look at the contents therein, one at a time, the merits and the demerits, and why they believe they do not agree, than rubbishing the whole document. Because rubbishing the whole document is not only unfair to those that are rubbishing, they are being unfair to citizens who may not understand the content.
Zambia has made significant progress in reducing HIV infections and AIDS related deaths, according to the 2025 UNAIDS Spectrum estimates. The report shows that new HIV infections have dropped by 52%, falling from 63,000 in 2010 to about 30,000 in 2025. AIDS related deaths have also declined by 40% from 25,000 to approximately 15,000 over the same period. Speaking during the commemoration of World AIDS Day today, Minister of Health Elijah Muchima welcomed the progress but expressed concern over persistent vulnerabilities among young people. Dr. Muchima noted that youths aged 15 to 24 continue to account for 38% of new infections, with adolescent girls and young women facing more than three times the risk compared to their male counterparts. Meanwhile, the minister officially launched Lena Kapove, a new long-acting PrEP option expected to boost HIV prevention efforts, especially among young people and vulnerable groups. This year's World AIDS Day is being commemorated under the theme Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response.
According to the 2025 UNH spectrum estimates, Zambia has made remarkable progress in HIV inspections. Have dropped by 52% from 63,000 in 2010 to about 30,000 in 2025. And AIDS-related deaths have decreased by 40% from 25,000 to about 50,000. But young people aged 15 to 24 still account for 38% of new infections. And adolescent girls and young women face more than three times the risk of their male peers.
The Zambia Police Service has launched an investigation into a case in which a 5-month-old child was allegedly stolen. The incident occurred on November 30, 2025, around 09 hours in Chipata compound in Lusaka. Emersdale Police Station received the report later the same day, around 15 hours from Grace Tembo, age 26 of Chipata compound, who stated that her daughter had been taken by a woman only identified as Mary, believed to be from Kapirimposhi. According to police public relations officer Godfrey Chilavi, brief facts of the matter are that the mother was at her home when the suspect asked her to accompany her to a nearby shop to buy a drink for the baby and offered to carry the child. While at the shop, the suspect gave the shopkeeper a 200 kwacha note to purchase the drink, but the shopkeeper informed her that he had no change. The suspect then handed the 200 kwacha note to the mother to get change and told her that she would meet her with the child at a truck loaded with charcoal at a nearby location. Mr. Chilavi said when the mother returned to the shop, both the suspect and the child were missing. Efforts to locate the suspect at the mentioned charcoal truck were unsuccessful, and the matter was subsequently reported to the police.
The Zambia Police Service has launched an investigation into a case in which a 5-month-old child was allegedly stolen. The incident occurred on November 30, 2025, around 09 hours in Chipata compound, Lusaka. Emersdale Police Station received the report later the same day, around 15 hours, from Grace Tembo, age 26, of Chipata compound, who stated that her daughter had been taken by a woman only identified as Mary, believed to be from Kapirimposhi. The brief facts of the matter are that the mother was at her home when the suspect asked her to accompany her to a nearby shop to buy a drink for the baby and offered to carry the child.
The Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has reiterated that Mukavamo Copper Mines Limited, operated by EZ Mining Limited, experienced a tailings dam failure at its facility in the Chabele area of Kashiba Chiefdom in Mwanza district of Luapula province. The incident occurred on 23rd November 2025. In a statement, Minister of Green Economy and Environment Mike Posher said Mukabamo Copper Mines Limited was granted environmental approval in February 2023 through decision later for copper mining and processing operations. Mr. Mposha added that the company also holds small-scale mining license number and has been conducting both mining and mineral processing activities to produce copper concentrates from copper sulfide ore. He explained that preliminary investigations indicate the dam failure resulted from poor structural integrity of the embankments, further compounded by the fact that the dam lacked a protective liner, increasing the risk of seepage into underground water sources. According to the minister, the breach led to the discharge of alkaline tailings into the open environment, posing potential environmental and public health risks. Detailed investigations are currently underway to determine the actual size of the dam and the volume of effluent released. Following the incident, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency ZEMA has issued an environmental restoration order to Mokabamo Copper Mines Limited. The order directs the company to, among other requirements, immediately ceases operations and clean up all affected areas. And in other news trending this evening, the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, Peter Kapala, has officially launched the 2025-2026 National Fish Ban, which runs from 1st December 2025 to 20th February 2026. The Department of Immigration has confirmed the apprehension of 24 suspected illegal immigrants in two separate operations carried out in Kabwe and at the Victoria Falls border between the 27th and 29th of November 2025. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The Zambian government has launched the third phase of its nationwide training program for artisanal gold miners, with participants from 8 provinces gathered in Pika district. Speaking during the launch, Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development Permanent Secretary Dr. Hapenga Kabeta said the initiative is a crucial step towards formalizing the artisanal mining sector to improve safety and promote economic empowerment in line with the new Dawn administration's development agenda. This phase targets 400 mining cooperatives, building on earlier phases in which more than 400 cooperatives were trained and issued with licenses. Participants in the current phase have been drawn from Central, Copperbelt, Eastern, Muchinga, Northwestern, Western, Southern, and Lusaka provinces. Dr. Kabeta noted that the training is a direct response to past tragedies associated with unregulated mining activities and is backed by the newly enacted Geological and Minerals Development Act Number 2 of 2025. The Act establishes a dedicated artisanal and small scale mining department and introduces an ASM fund to provide miners with financial support. Successful participants will receive certificates and formal mining licenses upon completion. Ends our business news, and in foreign news, gunmen have abducted at least 20 people, including a pastor and a new bride, in 2 separate attacks in the latest Nigerian kidnappings. Attackers stormed the newly established Cherubim and Seraphim Church on Sunday in the central Kogi state, firing shots and forcing congregants to flee in panic. They seized the pastor, his wife, and several worshippers. In another raid the night before in the northern Sokoto state, a bride and her bridesmaid were among those kidnapped. A baby, the baby's mother, and another woman were also taken, the AFP news agency reports. Schools and places of worship have increasingly been targeted in the latest wave of attacks in north and central Nigeria. And in sports news, Spain manager Sonia Bemdes says her side want to return their women's National League title for injured midfielder Aitana Bonmati, who broke her leg in training. The 27-year-old fell awkwardly during a practice session at the national team's training base in Madrid on Sunday. Spain were preparing for the second leg of their UEFA Women's Nations League final against Germany at the Estadio Metropolitano on Tuesday. Bonmati played 77 minutes of last Friday's first leg, which finished goalless in Kessler-Ten. Aitana wanted to stay for the final and be with us, Pemdes said. And now the weather.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northern, northwestern, southern, western, Lusaka, central, eastern, and Copperbelt provinces mainly cloudy, slightly windy, and warm to mild with isolated rain and occasional thunder. Northern Muchinga and Luapula provinces partly cloudy, slightly windy, and mild with a slight chance of isolated rain. Ends our weather report, and that item brings us to the end of the news. But before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. President Hakainde Hichilema has reiterated that he does not believe in political confrontations or street fights, emphasizing that dialogue remains the most effective way to resolve national matters. Zambia has made significant progress in reducing HIV infections and AIDS related deaths, according to the 2025 UNAIDS Spectrum estimates. And finally, gunmen have abducted at least 20 people, including a pastor and a new bride, in two separate attacks in the latest Nigerian kidnappings. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the happy world of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Lance Sannie. Enjoy the rest of the evening.